to do some reading from Jubilees today. It is a book that was lost. Let's see if we can go back here. Yep. Book that was lost and was found in the Dead Sea Scrolls, and it was in the Ethiopic Bible. And see if I can pull that up here. Dead Sea Scrolls. Jubilees. Yep. Found in the Dead Sea Scrolls, but was removed. So, yeah, and yep. See, the only complete version is in the Ethiopic Bible, which they had Enoch also. So we'll just start reading. This is from a translation from R.H. Charles. And they call it Little Genesis, but it's not. Might have to zoom in a little bit. Let's see here. That's a little better. And the history of the division of the days of the law and of the testimony of the events of the years and of the year weeks of their jubilees throughout all the years of the world, as Yahweh spoke to Moses on Mt.Sanai when he went up to receive the tables of the law and the commandment, according to the voice of Yah, as he said unto him, go up to the top of the mount. And it's Jubilees chapter 1, verse 1. And it came to pass in the first year of the exodus of the children of Israel out of Egypt, in the 3rd month, on the 16th day of the month, that Yah spoke to Moses, saying, come up to me on the mount, and I will give thee 2 tables of stone of the law and of the commandment which I have written, that thou mayest teach them. And Moses went up into the mount of Yah, and the glory of Yahweh abode on Mount Sinai, and a cloud overshadowed it 6 days. And he called to Moses on the 7th day out of the midst of the cloud. And the appearance of the glory of Yahweh was like a flaming fire on the top of the mount. And Moses was on the mount 40 days and 40 nights. And God taught him the earlier and the later history of the division of all the days of the law and of the testimony. So earlier history of division of the days and the law. And so the law was before Mount Sinai. And he said, incline thine heart to every word which I shall speak to thee on this mount, and write them in a book, in order that their generations may see how I have not forsaken them for all the evil which they have wrought in transgressing the covenant which I established between me and thee for their generations this day on Mount Sinai. And thus it will come to pass, when all these things come upon them, that they will recognize that I am more righteous than they, in all their judgments and all their actions, and they will recognize that I have been truly with them. And do thou write for thyself all these words which I declare unto thee this day, for I know their rebellion and their stiff neck. before I bring them into the land of which I swear to their fathers, to Abraham and to Isaac and to Jacob, saying, Unto your seed will I give a land flowing with milk and honey, and they will eat and be satisfied, and they will turn to strange gods, to gods which cannot deliver them from aught of their tribulation. And this shall be heard for a witness against them, for they will forget all my commandments, even all that I command them, and they will walk after the Gentiles, and after their uncleanness, and after their shame, and serve their gods, and these will prove unto them an offense, and a tribulation, and an affliction, and a snare. And many will perish, and they will be taken captive, and will fall into the hands of the enemy, because they have forsaken my ordinances, and my commandments, and the festivals of my covenant, and my Sabbaths, and my holy place, which I have hallowed for myself in their midst, and my tabernacle, and my sanctuary, which I have hallowed for myself in the midst of the land, that I should set my name upon it, and that it should dwell there. And they will make to themselves high places and groves and graven images, and they will worship each his own graven image, so as to go astray, and they will sacrifice their children to demons, and to all the works of the error of their hearts. And I will send witnesses unto them, that I may witness against them. And that's the prophets. But they will not hear, and will slay the witnesses also, and they will persecute those who seek the law, and they will abrogate and change everything, so as to work evil before my eyes. And I shall hide my face from them, and I shall deliver them into the hand of the Gentiles for captivity, and for prey, and for devouring. And I shall remove them from the midst of the land, and I shall scatter them among the Gentiles, and they will forget all my law and all my commandments and all my judgments, and will go astray as to new moons and Sabbaths and festivals and Jubilees and ordinances. And after this they will turn to me from amongst the Gentiles with all their heart, and with all their soul, and with all their strength. I shall gather them from amongst the Gentiles, and they will seek me, so that I shall be found of them when they seek me with all their heart and with all their soul, and I shall disclose to them abounding peace with righteousness, and I shall remove them the plant of uprightness with all my heart and with all my soul, and they will be for a blessing and not for a curse, and they will be for a head and not the tail, and I shall build my sanctuary in their midst, and I shall dwell with them, and I shall be their God, and they shall be my people in truth and righteousness. And I shall not forsake them nor fail them, for I am the Lord their God. And Moses fell on his face and prayed and said, O Yahweh, my Elohim, do not forsake thy people and thy inheritance, so that they should wander in the error of their hearts, and do not deliver them into the hands of their enemies, the Gentiles, lest they should rule over them and cause them to sin against thee. Let thy mercy, O Yahweh, be lifted up upon thy people, and create in them an upright spirit, and let not the spirit of Beliar rule over them, to accuse them before thee, and to ensnare them from all the paths of righteousness, so that they may perish from before thy face. But they are thy people and thy inheritance, which thou hast delivered with thy great power from the hands of the Egyptians. Create in them a clean heart and a holy spirit, and let them not be ensnared in their sins from henceforth until eternity. And Yahweh said unto Moses, I know their contrariness and their thoughts and their stiff-neckedness, and they will not be obedient till they confess their own sin and the sins of their fathers. And after this they will turn to me in all uprightness, and with all their heart and with all their soul, and I shall circumcise the foreskin of their heart, and the foreskin of the heart of their seed, and I shall create in them a holy spirit, and I shall cleanse them, so that they shall not turn away from me from that day unto eternity. And their souls will cleave to me and to all my commandments, and they will fulfill my commandments, and I shall be their father, and they will be my children. And they will all be called children of the living Yah. Every angel and every spirit will know, yea, they will know that these are my children, and that I am their father in uprightness and righteousness, and that I love them. And do thou write down for thyself all these words which I declare unto thee on this mountain, the first and the last which shall come to pass, and all the divisions in the law, and in the testimony, and the weeks and jubilees unto eternity, until I descend and dwell with them throughout eternity. And look at that. He's going to descend and dwell with them throughout eternity. And and they will fulfill my commandments. And he said to the angel of the presence, write for Moses from the beginning of creation till my sanctuary has been built among them for all eternity. And Yahweh will appear to the eyes of all, and all will know that I am the Elohim of Israel, and the father of all the children of Jacob, and king on Mount Zion for all eternity. And Zion and Jerusalem will be holy. And the angel of the presence who went before the camp of Israel took the tables of the divisions of the years from the time of the creation of the law, and of the testimony of the weeks of the Jubilees, according to the individual years, according to all the number of the Jubilees, according to the individual years, from the day of the new creation, when the heavens and the earth shall be renewed, and all their creation according to the powers of the heaven, and according to all the creation of the earth, until the sanctuary of Yahweh shall be made in Jerusalem, on Mount Zion, and all the luminaries be renewed for healing and for peace and for blessing for all the elect of Israel, and that thus it may be from that day and unto all the days of the earth. And the angel of the presence spake to Moses according to the word of Yahweh, saying, write the complete history of the creation, how in 6 days Yahweh finished all his works and all that he created, and kept the Sabbath on the seventh day, and hallowed it for all ages, and appointed it as a sign. How in 6 days he finished his works and Sabbath. A sign for all his works. For on the first day he created the heavens which are above, and the earth, and the waters, and all the spirits which serve before him, the angels of the presence, and the angels of sanctification, and the angels of the spirit of fire, and the angels of the spirit of the winds, and the angels of the spirit of the clouds, and darkness, and of snow, and of hail, and of hoarfrost, and the angels of the voices, and of the thunder, and of the lightning, and the angels of the spirits of cold, and of heat, and of winter, and of spring, and of autumn, and of summer, and all the spirits of his creatures which are in the heavens and on the earth. So he created all the spirits of his creatures which are in the heavens and on the earth. In the beginning, he created the abysses and the darkness, eventide and night, and the light, dawn and day, which he had prepared in the knowledge of his heart. And thereupon we saw his works, and praised him, and lauded before him on account of all his works. For 7 great works did he create on the first day, and on the second day he created the firmament in the midst of the waters. And the waters were divided on that day. Half of them went above, and half of them went down below the firmament that was in the midst over the face of the whole earth. And that was the only work Yah created on the second day. And on the third day he commanded the waters to pass from off the face of the whole earth into one place, and the dry land to appear. So there's waters above and there's waters beneath. He commanded the waters to pass from off the face of the whole earth into one place, and the dry land to appear. And the waters did so as he commanded them, and they retired from off the face of the earth into one place outside of this firmament, and the dry land appeared. And on that day he created for them all the seas according to their separate gathering places, and all the rivers, and the gatherings of the waters in the mountains, and on all the earth, and all the lakes, and all the dew of the earth, and the seed which is sown, and all sprouting things, and fruit-bearing trees, and trees of the wood, and the garden of Eden, in Eden, and all plants after their kind. These 4 great works Yah created on the third day. And on the fourth day he created the sun, and the moon, and the stars, and set them in the firmament of the heaven, to give light upon all the earth, and to rule over the day and the night, and divide the light from the darkness. And Yah appointed the sun to be a great sign on the earth for days, and for Sabbaths, and for months, and for feasts, and for years, and for Sabbaths of years, and for Jubilees, and for all seasons of the years. So the sun is very important for different time periods of the years. And it divided the light from the darkness, and for prosperity, that all things may prosper which shoot and grow on the earth. These three kinds he made on the fourth day, and on the fifth day he created great sea monsters in the depths of the waters, for these were the first things of flesh that were created by his hands, the fish and everything that moves in the waters, and everything that flies, and the birds and all their kind. So you got sea monsters. And the sun rose above them to prosper them, and above everything that was on the earth, everything that shoots out of the earth, and all fruit-bearing trees, and all flesh. These three kinds he created on the fifth day, and on the sixth day he created all the animals of the earth, and all cattle, and everything that moves on the earth. And after all this he created a man and a woman created he them, and gave him dominion over all that is upon the earth, and in the seas, and over everything that flies, and over beasts, and over cattle, and over everything that moves on the earth, and over the whole earth. And over all this he gave him dominion. And these four kinds he created on the sixth day. And there were altogether 22 kinds, and he finished all his work on the sixth day. All that is in the heavens and on the earth, and in the seas, and the abysses, and the light, and the darkness, and everything. And he gave us a great sign the Sabbath day, that we should work 6 days, but keep the Sabbath on the seventh day from all work. So, in the beginning, keep the Sabbath day. Genesis and Jubilees. And all the angels of the presence and all the angels of sanctification, these two great classes. And this goes into a little bit more detail than Genesis. He hath bidden us to keep the Sabbath with him in heaven and on earth. And he said unto us, Behold, I will separate unto myself a people from among all the peoples, and these will keep the Sabbath day, and I will sanctify them unto myself as my people, and will bless them as I have sanctified the Sabbath day, and do sanctify it unto myself. Even so shall I bless them, and they will be my people, and I shall be their Elohim. And I have chosen the seed of Jacob from amongst all that I have seen, and have written him down as my firstborn son, and have sanctified him unto myself forever and ever. And I will teach them the Sabbath day, that they may keep the Sabbath thereon from all work. And thus he created therein a sign in accordance with which they should keep the Sabbath with us on the seventh day, to eat and to drink and to bless him. So that's what you do on the Sabbath day. Who hath created all things, that he hath blessed and sanctified unto himself a peculiar people above all peoples, and that they should keep the Sabbath together with us. And he caused his commands to ascend as a sweet savor acceptable before him all the days. There were 22 heads of mankind, and that end of that verse is missing. You wonder what they did with that one. There were 22 heads of mankind from Adam to Jacob, and 22 kinds of work were made until the seventh day. This is blessed and holy, and the former is blessed and holy. So, heads of mankind, sons from Adam to Jacob, blessed and holy. And this one serves with that one for sanctification and blessing. And to this Jacob and his seed it was granted that they should always be the blessed and holy ones of the first testimony and law, even as he had sanctified and blessed the Sabbath day on the seventh day. He created heaven and earth and everything that he created in 6 days, and Yahweh made the seventh day holy. So in the beginning he made the seventh day holy, not changed. For all his works, therefore he commanded on its behalf, that whoever doth any work thereon shall die. And that's not just physical, but spiritual. In that he who defileth it shall surely die. Wherefore do thou command the children of Israel to observe this day, that they may keep it holy, and not do thereon any work, and not to defile it, as it is holier than all other days. And whoever profaneth it shall surely die, and whoever doeth thereon any work shall surely die eternally. That the children of Israel may observe this day throughout their generations, and not be rooted out of the land, for it is a holy day and a blessed day. And everyone who observeth it, and keepeth the Sabbath thereon from all his work, will be holy and blessed throughout all days like unto us. Declare and say to the children of Israel the law of this day, both that they should keep the Sabbath thereon, and that they should not forsake it in the error of their hearts. and that it is not lawful to do any work thereon which is unseemly, to do their own pleasure, and that they should not prepare thereon anything to be eaten or drinking, and that it is not lawful to draw water, or to bring in or take out thereon through their gates any burden which they had not prepared for themselves on the 6th day in their dwellings. And they shall not bring in nor take out from the house to house on that day, for that day is more holy and blessed than any Jubilee day of Jubilees. On this we kept Sabbath in the heavens before it was made known to any flesh to keep Sabbath thereon on the earth. And the Creator of all things blessed it, but he did not sanctify all peoples and nations to keep Sabbath thereon, but Israel alone. Them alone he permitted to eat and drink and to keep Sabbath thereon on the earth. You read Ephesians 2 and Romans 11. If you're grafted in, the blood of Messiah, the covenants of promise, then you are Israel. So this applies. And the Creator of all things blessed this day which he had created for a blessing and a sanctification and a glory above all days. This law and testimony was given to the children of Israel as a law forever unto their generations. There's the word there. Forever. And on the 6 days of the second week we brought, according to the word of Yah, unto Adam all the beasts, and all the cattle, and all the birds, and everything that moveth on the earth, and everything that moveth in the water, according to their kinds, according to their types. The beast on the first day, the cattle on the second day, the birds on the third day, and all that which moveth on the earth on the fourth day, and that which moveth in the water on the fifth day. And Adam named them all by their respective names, and as he called them, so was their name. And on these 5 days Adam saw all these, male and female, according to every kind that was on the earth. But he was alone, and found no helpmeet for him. And Yahweh said unto us, It is not good that man should be alone. Let us make a helpmeet for him. And Yahweh our Elohim caused a deep sleep to fall upon him, and he slept, and he took for the woman one rib from amongst his ribs, and this rib was the origin of woman from amongst his ribs, and he built up the flesh in its stead, and built the woman. And he awakened Adam out of his sleep, and on awakening he rose on the 6th day, and he brought her to him, and he knew her, and said unto her, This is now bone of my bones, and flesh of my flesh. She will be called my wife, because she was taken from her husband. Therefore shall man and wife be one, and therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. In the first week was Adam created, and the rib his wife in the second week. He showed her unto him, and for this reason the commandment was given, to keep in their defilement for a male 7 days, and for a female twice 7 days. And after Adam had completed 40 days in the land where he had been created, we brought him into the Garden of Eden to till it and keep it. But his wife they brought in on the 80th day, and after this she entered into the Garden of Eden. And for this reason the commandment is written on the heavenly tables. So that's written in the heavenly tables. In regard to her that giveth birth, if she beareth a male, she shall remain in her uncleanness 7 days, according to the first week of days, and 33 days shall she remain in the blood of her purifying. There's that number 33 again. And she shall not touch any hallowed thing, nor enter into the sanctuary, until she accomplishes these days which are enjoined in the case of a male child. But in the case of a female child, she shall remain in her uncleanness 2 weeks of days, according to the first 2 weeks, and 66 days in the blood of her purification, and they will be in all 80 days. And that 66 number again. And when, hey, servant of Yahusha, thank you. And when she had completed these 80 days, we brought her into the Garden of Eden, for it is holier than all the earth besides, and every tree that is planted in it is holy. And therefore there was ordained regarding her who beareth a male or a female child the statute of those days, that she should touch no hallowed thing, nor enter into the sanctuary, until these days for a male or female child are accomplished. This is the law and the testimony which was written down for Israel, Yasharel, in order that they should observe it all the days. And in the first week of the first Jubilee, Adam and his wife were in the Garden of Eden for 7 years, tilling it and keeping it. And we gave him work, and we instructed him to do everything that is suitable for tillage. And he tilled the garden, and was naked, and knew it not, and was not ashamed. And he protected the garden from the birds and beasts and cattle, and gathered its fruit, and ate, and put aside the residue for himself and for his wife, and put aside that which was being kept. And after the completion of the 7 years, which he had completed there, 7 years exactly, and in the second month, on the 17th day of the month, the serpent came and approached the woman. And the serpent said to the woman, Hath Yah commanded you, saying, You shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And she said to it, Of all the fruit of the trees of the garden Yah hath said unto us, Eat, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden Yah hath said unto us, Ye shall not eat thereof, neither shall you touch it, lest you die. And the serpent said unto the woman, You shall not surely die, for Yah doth know that on the day ye shall eat thereof, your eyes will be opened, and you will be as gods, and you will know good and evil. And the woman saw the tree, that it was agreeable and pleasant to the eye, and that its fruit was good for food, and she took thereof and ate. And when she had first covered her shame with fig leaves, she gave thereof to Adam, and he ate, and his eyes were opened, and he saw that he was naked. And he took fig leaves and sewed them together, and made an apron for himself, and covered his shame. And Yahweh cursed the serpent, and was wroth with it forever. And he was wroth with the woman, because she hearkened to the voice of the serpent, and did eat. And he said unto her, I shall multiply thy sorrow and thy pains. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy return shall be unto thy husband, and he will rule over thee. And to Adam also he said, Because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree which I commanded thee that thou shouldst not eat thereof, cursed be the ground for thy sake. Thorns and thistles shall it bring forth to thee, and thou shalt eat thy bread in the sweat of thy face, till thou returnest to the earth from whence thou wast taken. For earth thou art, and unto earth shalt thou return. And he made for them coats of skin, and clothed them, and sent them forth from the Garden of Eden. And on that day on which Adam went forth from the garden, he offered a sweet savor, an offering, frankincense, galbanum, and stake, and spices. And in the morning, with the rising of the sun, from the day when he covered his shame, and on that day was closed the mouth of all beasts, and of cattle, and of birds, and of whatever walketh, and of whatever moveth, so that they could no longer speak. For they had all spoken with one another, one with another, with one lip, and with one tongue. And he sent out of the Garden of Eden all flesh that was in the Garden of Eden, and all flesh was scattered according to its kinds, and according to its types, unto the places which had been created for them. And to Adam alone did he give the wherewithal to cover his shame of all the beasts and cattle. On this account it is prescribed on the heavenly tablets, as touching all those who know the judgment of the law, that they should cover their shame, and should not uncover themselves, as the Gentiles uncover themselves. And on the new moon of the 4th month, Adam and his wife went forth from the Garden of Eden, and they dwelt in the land of Eldah, in the land of their creation. And Adam called the name of his wife Eve, and they had no son till the first Jubilee, and after this he knew her. Now he tilled the land as he had been instructed in the Garden of Eden. And in the 3rd week, in the 2nd Jubilee, she gave birth to Cain, and in the 4th she gave birth to Abel, and in the 5th she gave birth to her daughter Awan. And in the 1st year of the 3rd Jubilee, Cain slew Abel, because Yahweh accepted the sacrifice of Abel, and did not accept the offering of Cain. And he slew him in the field, and his blood cried from the ground to heaven, complaining because he had slain him. And Yahweh reproved Cain because of Abel, because he had slain him, and he made him a fugitive on the earth because of the blood of his brother, and he cursed him upon the earth. And on this account it is written on the heavenly tables, Cursed is he who smiteth his brother treacherously, and let all who have seen it seen and heard it say, So be it. And the man who has seen it and not declared it, let him be accursed as the other. And for this reason we announce when we come before Yahweh our Elohim all the sin which is committed in heaven and on earth, and in light and in darkness and everywhere. And Adam and his wife mourned for Abel 4 weeks of years, and in the 4th year of the 5th week they became joyful, and Adam knew his wife again, and she bare him a son, and he called his name Seth, for he said, Yah has raised up a second seed unto us on the earth instead of Abel, for Cain slew him. And in the 6th week he begat his daughter Azurah, and Cain took Awan his sister to be his wife, and she bare him Enoch. Now that's not the same Enoch as the one that wrote Enoch. At the close of the 4th Jubilee, and in the 1st year of the 1st week of the 5th Jubilee, houses were built on the earth, and Cain built a city, and called its name after the name of his son Enoch. Now a Jubilee is 49 years, and you can add this up. First year of the 1st week, in a week of years would be 7 years. So the 1st year of the 7 years of the 5th 49th year. So 4 times 49, and then the 1st week, 1st year. So that would be, I can look it up. Four times 49. That will be in the year 196 after creation. Houses were built on the earth, and Cain built a city. Adam knew Eve his wife, and she bare yet 9 sons, and in the 5th week of the 5th Jubilee, that would be the 5th 7 years of the 5th 49 years, Seth took Azurah his wife to be his wife, and in the 4th year of the 6th week she bare him Enos, and he began to call on the name of Yahweh on the earth. And in the 7th Jubilee, in the 3rd week, Enos took Noam his sister to be his wife, and she bare him a son in the 3rd year of the 5th week, and he called his name Canaan. And at the close of the 8th Jubilee, Canaan took Maluleth his sister to be his wife, and she bare him a son in the 9th Jubilee, in the 1st week, in the 3rd year of this week, and he called his name Mahalalel. And in the 2nd week of the 10th Jubilee, Mahalalel took unto him to wife Dinah, the daughter of Barachiel, the daughter of his father's brother, and she bare him a son in the 3rd week in the 6th year, and he called his name Jared. For in his days the angels of Yahweh descended on the earth, those who were named watchers, that they should instruct the children of men, and that they should do judgment and uprightness on the earth. And in the 11th Jubilee Jared took to himself a wife, and her name was Barakah, the daughter of Razael, a daughter of his father's brother, in the 4th week of this Jubilee, and she bare him a son in the 5th week, in the 4th year of the Jubilee, and he called his name Enoch. So that would be, and he was the first among men that were born on earth who learned writing and knowledge and wisdom, and who wrote down the signs of heaven according to their order of their months in a book. So that's the Enoch. That's the prophet Enoch, that men might know the seasons of the years according to the order of their separate months. And he was the first to write a testimony, and he testified to the sons of men among the generations of the earth. There's the book of Enoch right there. And recounted the weeks of the Jubilees, and made known to them the days of the years, and set in order the months, and recounted the Sabbaths of the years, as we made known to them. And what was and what will be he saw in a vision of his sleep, as it will happen to the children of men throughout their generations until the day of judgment. He saw and understood everything, and wrote his testimony, and placed the testimony on earth for all the children of men, and for their generations. And in the 12th Jubilee, in the 7th week thereof, he took to himself a wife, and her name was Edni, the daughter of Daniel, the daughter of his father's brother. And in the 6th year in this week, she bare him a son, and he called his name Methuselah. And he was moreover with the angels of Yahweh these 6 Jubilees of years, and they showed him everything which is on earth and in the heavens. and the rule of the sun, and he wrote down everything. So Enoch was with the angels for 6 times 49, 294 years. And he was taken from amongst the children of men, and we conducted him into the Garden of Eden in majesty and honor. And behold, there he writeth down the condemnation and the judgment of the world. Book of Enoch. And all the wickedness of the children of men. And on account of it, Yahweh brought the waters of the flood upon all the land of Eden, for there he was set as a sign, and that he should testify against all the children of men, that he should recount all the deeds of the generations until the day of condemnation. And he burnt incense of the sanctuary, even sweet spices acceptable before Yahweh on the mount. For Yahweh hath 4 places on the earth, the Garden of Eden, the Mount of the east, and this mountain on which thou art this day, Mt.Sanai and Mount Zion, which will be sanctified in the new creation for a sanctification of the earth. Through it will the earth be sanctified from all its guilt and its uncleanness throughout the generations of the world. And in the 14th Jubilee, Methuselah took unto himself a wife, Edna, the daughter of Azrael, the daughter of his father's brother, in the 3rd week, in the 1st year of this week. And he begat a son, and called his name Lamech. And in the 15th Jubilee, in the 3rd week, Lamech took to himself a wife, and her name was Betinos, the daughter of Barachiel, the daughter of his father's brother. And in this week she bare him a son, and he called his name Noah, saying, This one will comfort me for all my trouble and all my work, and for the ground which Yahweh hath cursed. And at the close of the 19th Jubilee, in the 7th week, in the 6th year thereof, Adam died, and all his sons buried him in the land of his creation. So, at the close of the 19th Jubilee, 19 times 49, that would be the year 931. So, 19th Jubilee, Adam died, and all his sons buried him in the land of his creation. He was the first to be buried in the earth, and he lacked 70 years of 1,000 years. For 1,000 years are as one day in the testimony of the heavens, and therefore was it written concerning the tree of knowledge. On the day that ye eat thereof, you will die. For this reason he did not complete the years of one day, this day, for he died during it. And if you look at Genesis, and all the days that Adam lived were 930 years. So 19 Jubilees is 931 years. He was buried in the 931. And at the close of this Jubilee, Cain was killed after him in the same year, for his house fell upon him, and he died in the midst of his house, and was killed by its stones. For with the stone he had killed Abel, and by a stone was he killed in righteous judgment. For this reason it was ordained on the heavenly tables, with the instrument with which a man killeth his neighbor, with the same shall he be killed. After the manner that he wounded him, in like manner shall they deal with him. And in the 25th Jubilee, Noah took to himself a wife, and her name was Imzara, the daughter of Rachiel, the daughter of his father's brother, in the first year, in the 5th week. And in the 3rd year thereof she bare him Shem. In the 5th year thereof she bare him Ham. And in the 1st year of the 6th week she bare him Japheth. Let's see. And chapter 5, Jubilees. And it came to pass, when the children of men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the angels of Yahweh saw them on a certain year of this Jubilee, that they were beautiful to look upon, and they took themselves wives of all whom they chose, and they bare unto them sons, and they were giants. 40. And this right here, 6:2. If you go to Genesis 6:2, say they got rid of the book of Jubilees completely. Genesis they tampered with. Sons of Yah saw the daughters of men that they were fair, and they took them wives, all of which they chose. See, same thing. But right here it's very clear. The angels took wives and bare giants. And lawlessness increased on the earth, and all flesh corrupted its way. Where are we at today? Same point. Alike men and cattle and beasts and birds and everything that walketh on the earth, all of them corrupted their ways and their orders. They began to devour each other, and lawlessness increased on the earth. And every imagination of the thoughts of all men was evil continually. And that's where we're at now. Because people think of this. Well, they don't think of this, but just people ignore the law. Law's done away with, right? Paul said this, Romans 7:12, wherefore the law is holy, the commandment is holy, and just and good. So they did away with the commandments too. And God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, and all flesh had corrupted its orders, and all that were upon the earth had wrought all manner of evil before his eyes. And he said, I shall destroy man and all flesh upon the face of the earth, which I have created. But Noah found grace before the eyes of Yahweh, and against the angels whom he had sent upon the earth, he was exceedingly wroth. And he gave commandment to root them out of all their dominion. And he bade us to bind them in the depths of the earth. And behold, they are bound in the midst of them, and are kept separate. And against their sons went forth a command from before his face, that they should be smitten with the sword, and be removed from under heaven. And he said, thy spirit will not always abide on man, for they also are flesh, and their days shall be 120 years. So if you look at Genesis, and the next verse, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for he is also flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. Missing a whole lot of information right there. And where was that? Down is. There we go. Sorry. 8. Thy spirit will not always abide on man, for they are also flesh. Their days will be 120 years. And he sent his sword into the midst, that each should slay his neighbor, and they began to slay each other, till they all fell by the sword and were destroyed from the earth. And their fathers were witnesses of their destruction. So it's talking about the angels watched the giants, their sons, being destroyed. And after this they were bound in the depths of the earth forever, until the day of the great condemnation, when judgment is executed on all those who have corrupted their ways and their works before Yahweh. So the day of judgment. And he destroyed all from their places, and there was not one of them whom he judged not according to all their wickedness. And he made for all his works a new and righteous nature, so that they should not sin in their whole nature forever, but should be all righteous, each in his kind always. And the judgment of all is ordained and written on the heavenly tablets in righteousness, even the judgment of all who depart from the path which is ordained for them to walk in. And if they walk not therein, judgment is written down for every creature and for every kind. And there's nothing in heaven or on earth or in light or in darkness or in Sheol or in the depth or in the place of darkness which is not judged. And all their judgments are ordained and written and are engraved. So we got depart from the path which is ordained for them to walk in. Looks like we have a certain path we're supposed to walk in, right? And there is nothing in heaven nor on earth. Let's see, hold on. In regard to all he will judge, the great according to his greatness, and the small according to his smallness, and each according to his way. And he is not one who will regard the person of any, nor is he one who will receive gifts. If he saith that he will execute judgment on each, if one gave everything that is on the earth, he will not regard the gifts or the person of any, nor accept anything at his hands, for he is a righteous judge. And of the children of Israel it hath been written and ordained, if they turn to him in righteousness, he will forgive all their transgressions and pardon all their sins. It is written and ordained that he will show mercy to all who turn from all their guilt once each year. And as for those who corrupted their ways and their thoughts before the flood, no man's person was accepted save that of Noah alone, for his person was accepted in behalf of his sons, whom Yahweh saved from the waters of the flood on his account. For his heart was righteous in all his ways, according as it was commanded regarding him, and he had not departed from aught that was ordained for him. And Yahweh said that he would destroy everything which was upon the earth, both men and cattle and beasts and fowls of the air, and that which moveth on the earth. And he commanded Noah to make him an ark, that he might save himself from the waters of the flood. And Noah made the ark in all respects as he commanded him, in the 27th Jubilee of years, in the 5th week, in the 5th year, on the new moon of the 1st month. So 27 Jubilees, 27 times 26 times 49. So that's the year 1274. Because you're in the 27th Jubilee, in the 5th week, in the 5th year. So that means 4 years of weeks have passed. So 4 times 7 is 28. In the 5th year. So you add 5 more. That is the year 1307 after creation. And he entered in the 6th year thereof, so the next year in the 2nd month, on the new moon of the 2nd month, till the 16th. And he entered, and all that we brought to him into the ark, and Yahweh closed it from without on the 17th evening. And Yahweh opened 7 floodgates of heaven. See, that's the waters above and the waters beneath. So that's the waters above. And the mouths of the fountains of the great deep, 7 mouths in number, waters above, waters below. And the floodgates began to pour down water from the heaven 40 days and 40 nights. And the fountains of the deep also sent up waters until the whole world was full of water. And the waters increased upon the earth. 15 cubits did the waters rise above all the high mountains. And the ark was lifted up above the earth, and it moved upon the face of the waters. And make sure that Hebrew world model. This is a pretty good picture of what it looks like. If I can get the thing up here. There we go. See? And the waters above the firmament. Don't look like any spaces out there. Those were opened, the floodgates. The water poured in, and the water came up from the deep. That's what he's talking about. Flooded the entire earth, the enclosure. And the water prevailed on the face of the earth 5 months, 150 days, and the ark went and rested on top of Lubar, one of the mountains of Ararat. And on the new moon in the 4th month, the fountains of the great deep were closed, and the floodgates of heaven were restrained. And on the new moon of the 7th month, all the mouths of the abysses of the earth were open, and the water began to descend into the deep below. And on the new moon of the 10th month, the tops of the mountains were seen. And on the new moon of the 1st month, the earth became visible, and the waters disappeared from above the earth. In the 5th week, in the 7th year thereof, on the 17th day, in the 2nd month, the earth was dry. And on the 27th thereof, he opened the ark and sent forth from it beasts and cattle and birds and every moving thing. And chapter 6. And on the new moon of the 3rd month, he went forth from the ark and built an altar on that mountain, and he made atonement for the earth, and took a kid, a baby goat, and made atonement by its blood for all the guilt of the earth. And they got us calling our children kids now, baby goats. All the guilt of the earth, for everything that had been on it had been destroyed, save those that were in the ark with Noah. And he placed the fat thereof on the altar, and he took an ox and a goat and a sheep and kids and salt and a turtle dove and a young of a dove, and placed a burnt sacrifice on the altar, and poured thereon an offering mingled with oil, and sprinkled wine, and strewed frankincense over everything, and caused a goodly savor to arise acceptable before Yahweh. And Yahweh smelt the goodly savor, and he made a covenant with him that there should no more be any flood to destroy the earth, that all the days of the earth, seed time and harvest, should never cease. Cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night should not change their order, nor cease forever. And you increase ye and multiply upon the earth, and become many upon it, and be a blessing upon you. The fear of you and the dread of you I shall inspire in everything that is on the earth and in the sea. And behold, I have given unto you all the beasts, and all the winged things, and everything that moveth on the earth, and the fish in the waters, and all things for food. As the green herbs, I have given you all things to eat. So he closed their mouth. The animals could talk in the beginning, and then now he's put the animals fear man. But flesh with the life thereof, with the blood you shall not eat, for the life of all flesh is in the blood, lest your blood of your lives be required. At the hand of every man, at the hand of every beast, shall I require the blood of man. Whosoever sheddeth blood by man, shall his blood be shed, for in the image of Yah made he man. And you increase ye and multiply on the earth. So, don't eat blood. The blood you shall not eat. That's not, it's a new commandment, yeah, but you got to look at it's right here. And the apostles said the same thing. Acts 15:20. But right unto them they abstain from pollutions of idols, Christmas, Easter, Sunday worship, Halloween, fornication, things strangled, and from blood. There you go. And Noah and his sons swore that they would not eat any blood that was in any flesh, and he made a covenant before Yahweh forever throughout all the generations of the earth in this month. Any blood that's in any flesh. So the rainbow still comes up in the sky, so this is still valid. On this account he spake to thee, that thou shouldst make a covenant with the children of Israel in this month upon the mountain with an oath, and that thou shouldst sprinkle blood upon them because of all the words of the covenant which Yahweh made with them forever. And this testimony is written concerning you, that you should observe it continually, so that you should not eat on any day any blood of the beast or birds or cattle during all the days of the earth. All the days of the earth. And the man who eateth blood of beast or of cattle or of birds during all the days of the earth, he and his seed shall be rooted out of the land. And do thou command the children of Israel to eat no blood, so that their names and their seed may be before Yahweh our Elohim continually. And for this law there is no limit of days, for it is forever. They shall observe it throughout their generations, so that they may continue supplicating on your behalf with blood before the altar. every day. Where's it at? Blood before the altar. Well, there it is. Every day and at the time of morning and evening they shall seek forgiveness on your behalf perpetually before Yahweh, that they may keep it and not be rooted out. And he gave to Noah and his sons a sign that there should not again be flood on the earth. He set his bow in the cloud for a sign of the eternal covenant, that there should not again be a flood on the earth to destroy it all the days of the earth. For this reason it is ordained and written on the heavenly tablets that they should celebrate the Feast of Weeks in this month once a year, to renew the covenant every year. And this whole festival was celebrated in heaven from the day of creation till the days of Noah, 26 Jubilees and 5 weeks of years. And Noah and his sons observed it for 7 Jubilees and 1 week of years, till the day of Noah's death. And from the day of Noah's death his sons did away with it until the days of Abraham, and they ate blood. But Abraham observed it, and Isaac and Jacob and his children observed it up to thy days. And in thy days the children of Israel forgot it, until you celebrated it anew on this mountain. And do thou command the children of Israel to observe this festival in all their generations, for a commandment unto them. 1 day in the year, in this month they shall celebrate the festival, for it is the festival of weeks, and the feast of firstfruits. And so Israel celebrated it on the mountain before they went into the land. This feast is twofold and of double nature, according to what is written and engraven concerning to celebrate it. 22. For I have written in the book of the first law, and that which I have written for thee, that thou shouldst celebrate it in its season, 1 day in the year. And I have explained to thee its sacrifices, that the children of Israel should remember and should celebrate it throughout their generations in this month, 1 day in every year, and on the new moon of the first month, and on the new moon of the 4th month, and on the new moon of the 7th month, and on the new moon of the 10th month are the days of remembrance, and the days of the seasons and the 4 divisions of the years. These are written and ordained as a testimony forever. Noah ordained them for himself as feasts for the generations forever, so that they have become thereby a memorial unto him. And on the new moon of the 1st month he was bidden to make for himself an ark, and on that day the earth became dry, and he opened the ark and saw the earth. And on the new moon of the 4th month the mouths of the depths of the abysses beneath were closed. And on the new moon of the 7th month all the mouths of the abysses of the earth were opened, and the waters began to descend into them. And on the new moon of the 10th month the tops of the mountains were seen, and Noah was glad. And on this account he ordained them for himself as feasts for a memorial forever. And thus are they ordained. And they placed them on the heavenly tablets. Each had 13 weeks from one to another past their memorial, from the first to the second, from the second to the third, and from the third to the fourth. And all the days of the commandment will be 52 weeks of days. 2 and 50. These will make the entire year complete. 52 weeks of days. So a week of days is 7. 52 times 7, 364. Thus it is engraven and ordained on the heavenly tablets, and there is no neglecting this commandment for a single year or from year to year. And command thou that the children of Israel, that they observe the years according to this reckoning, 364 days, and these will constitute a complete year. And they will not disturb its time from its days and from its feast, for everything will fall out in them according to their testimony, and they will not leave out any day nor disturb any feast. But if they do neglect and do not observe them according to his commandment, then they will disturb all their seasons, and the years will be dislodged from this order. And they will disturb the seasons, and the years will be dislodged, and they will neglect their ordinances. And all the children of Israel will forget and will not find the path of the years, and will forget the new moons and the seasons and the Sabbaths, and they will go wrong as to all the order of the years. For I know, and from henceforth shall I declare unto thee, and it is not of my own devising, for the book lieth written before me, and on the heavenly tablets the division of days is ordained, lest they forget the feast of the covenant, and walk according to the feast of the Gentiles, after their error and after their ignorance. Feast of the Gentiles. Easter, Christmas. For their Super Bowl. For there will be those who will assuredly make observations of the moon, how it disturbeth the seasons that cometh in from year to year, 10 days too soon. For this reason the years will come upon them when they disturb the order, and make an abominable day the day of a testimony, and an unclean day a feast day, and they will confound all the days, the holy with the unclean, and the unclean with the holy. For they will go wrong as to months, and to Sabbaths, and feasts, and jubilees. For this reason I command and testify to thee, that thou mayest testify to them. For after thy death thy children will disturb them, so that they will not make the year 364 days only. For this reason they will go wrong as to new moons, seasons, Sabbaths, festivals. They will eat all kinds of blood with all kinds of flesh. Yep, we're there. So, chapter 7. I think I'm going to stop it there. So, hopefully this was helpful to somebody. And if you want to continue reading it, it's on sacred text. And I'll try to get on here and read some more later. So